Hey everyone, we got another Duplexity world record to show, and this time down in just 11 hits. Shout out to Supreme Dream for getting the job done, and we've been playing with them for maybe a few months now, and there's so many great players run by Chef, which is awesome leader, people like ZPM, one of the best rushers I've ever seen, and just amazing players all throughout. And not only are they doing Duplexity, but doing it at a 100% rate as a 25-man. But we'll go ahead and check out the hits. And you can see right there, Duplexity, all 7 bases down at 11 hits. And we can start with Harmony right here, hit by Lucas going with some mech bombers, taking Sabo as an engraving. And this was a little easier with no shields, but you can see at the start, being a bit smart with mechs, shocking the rockets and keeping Bullet on the right side. Normally on Harmony, you would have shields where those mortars are, but on this one, you can just clear a bunch of buildings on the left, and maybe one hit free snipes the left core, while the other hit goes for the right one. We also had tiny shocks this up, so you could be a lot more creative with how you do hits. But Lucas just going on the left side, doing a bunch of shocks and clearing all these buildings. Normally you want to only get the buildings and save cells for another hit, but since we're trying to do it in 2 hits, you can just clear all these guys. Being smart with this rocket, so he already knows its range, doing smoke where he has to. And now it's pretty tough because there's a lot of buildings on this side. Shock blaster, microwaves, and simos. So we can kind of slow it down right here. By getting some mechs going, looks like maybe bombers are going to clear a bit. But it's just flaring the core. Luckily, the lasers don't kill too many bombers. But it's just about shocking the simos, a bunch of rockets. And it got pretty dicey at the end. Like barely that last bomber getting the core down. And that's Lucas doing the first hit. I think we got it down in just one more. Right there have Rita going in to finish off Harmony. And it looks like a Zuka rush. So since Lucas already used Sabotage, the core health is a bit lower than before. So Rita going with all Zooks and Brick. Looks like a perfect 2 smoke landing. And these are always just the craziest hits because you gotta be so precise with where you do smokes. One tile off means you can lose all your Zooks. And then going a few on this side. I think she doesn't have to worry about that Simo. I got one tiny shock on that critter launcher. And then just rushing the core. So Rita and Lucas getting on Harmony in just 2 hits. It's also always a cool base just looking at it. Got the yin yang going. And then we had our one Duplexity solo this up. Got JR and Trinity, also taking some Sabotage. A bit easier because there's no shields, but still a lot of rockets everywhere. I almost think that if they ever had a Triplexity out, this would be a good candidate. Having like one more core towards the back end right there. But JR going with clearing some mines on the left side. Maybe doing like a split Zuka rush. So let's see how many Zooks on the left side. Maybe looks like 6 boats right there. A little bit of a peek, but got lucky. And just throwing a bunch of shocks. He wants to make sure the Zooks and Brick are pretty safe on this side. Just in time shocking that rocket too. And because there's no shields, it can just get down that core. All he has left to do is free snipe this side. And that's why Trinity, sometimes it looks easy, but it's pretty tough because you have so many rockets right next to the cores. But really awesome solo by JR. And even with that, that's half the Duplexity bases already down in just 3 hits. But we can show a bit of the Forlorn Hope now. We got Lucas again on Callisto, taking Sabotage again. This one I think is a fun solo base. Sometimes you can do a cool little flare getting all the Zooks together. But I think there's a perfect spot on this left side for him to do the core rush. He has enough GB so he can go straight there. And the biggest thing about Zuka rushes is getting those flares right. Because one mistap and you do a smoke wrong, you can have a bunch of rockets killing all your Zooks. And also Brick's faster than them, so wants to be a bit careful. And maybe here it's going to be like 3 or 4 shocks. He goes in the corner right there, flares the core. Or perfect, 1 tiny shock and 3 normal ones. So pretty healthy too. though instead of 1500 building health, it's down to almost 1000. Lucas taking down Callisto. Then we have the leader of Dream, Chef, going for hardcore. And everyone likes a hardcore solo. Taking Sabotage again. I like hardcore because it's one of the few times you can really use lasers, even in Duplexity. So going with one rifle, lasers, and Kavan. And of course getting the shocks across. It's just so satisfying watching lasers shoot, clearing all these buildings. And especially on hardcore because there's just so many clumped together. Wanting to get those grapplers down here. And even before lasers were introduced, I think it was more like a rifle zoo cryo meta. But lasers of course make it so much easier. So here even just at 2 times, he wakes up the hotpots with critters. A little easier to take them down. And the main thing with lasers is trying to get a good angle to get all these shields down. I forgot, maybe there's like almost 40 shields or something. But normally you just let them clear and at some point do some reflares. But Chef's just got so many lasers alive that he just needs one more reflare. Got one right there for that last shield. And I think it wasn't even tight on time, just great laser solo. And I think we might see another cool laser hit upcoming too. But the third and final Forlorn Hope base is we have smoke going on Manticore. And normally go for Zooks, but because there's not any rockets on the right side, you can go a bit more creative and take bombers instead. So almost like a bomber free snipe, but still fun seeing them in action. All bombers across the side. Of course got a few smokes going. And maybe here one shot for those mortars. Or just 3 tinies. Tiny shocks are fun too because you got a full 30 seconds. And here out of range of pretty much all the shock launchers. And just free snipe the core. A bit easier hit, but still taking bombers instead is kinda cool. And as we usually do in life, we save the 2 toughest bases for last. So first we're going to check out Winged, which for this op might have been the toughest one. We had GK doing a really cool bullet all laser hit, taking Sabotage once again. And I would have never expected using lasers on Winged, but GK just comes up with this amazing strat, using smoke and kind of flashing lasers, where you don't even have to use any shocks. So clearing a few mines right here, and we'll slow it down a bit. Bullet early to take some fire for the rockets, which means you can only do 1 smoke and keep the lasers alive. And just look at those smokes, getting the lasers in perfect position. And right in between all those rockets, lasers luckily don't like to spread out too much. And then you can flare this rocket right here. And this is really the cool hit about this. So we'll slow it down once more. And the first smoke, lasers don't shoot, which kind of seems like a mistake, but they have a little bit of delay. So you want the lasers just to lose it by getting out of smoke. And then kind of wait for the other one, so in just a few more seconds. And just like that, lasers shoot, nothing else shoots at them. With him being super smart and already doing a reflare, it might be one of the most high skill cap hits in the game. Doing these laser flashes, because look, it even gets that shock launcher down. And right here, he's going to do it once again. Perfectly timed smoke, gets 2 rockets, and almost that shock launcher. And now later in the hit, we do have to get some other buildings down, like that Simo right there. And also some mortars behind. But right here, he's going to go ahead and flare that core. Just takes a few shots, gets some mortars down. I mean, lasers do so much damage with this splash. And bullet at that perfect spot, taunting all those rockets. So here, one perfect shot getting all those rockets down. And now it's just clearing a bunch of buildings. Also worrying about those critter launchers, getting those taken care of. And he's not even done there, because he wants to get down that Simo, or at least a microwave. Getting that down too. Both the microwaves are super important because the rush is going to get both cores at the same time. And on this hit, we're also going to be barding out a lot of the shields. He doesn't have too much GB, but maybe the next couple hits can help him out. For me, one of my favorite hits, not just this op, but maybe in the whole game. Always fun seeing lasers in action. So GK doing the first hit, and we have JR doing the second one. Also taking kind of a mix, bullet bombers and some other lasers. Normally there's 4 shields on the left, but only 2 this time. So because of that, you can take bullet bombers instead of Zooks. He's doing a few smokes on the left side. And because bullet and bombers have that much separation, all you need to worry about is shocking the grapplers. So going ahead, bombers take down the shields in just a few shots, flitter the second one. And because Tiny Shock lasts a full 30 seconds, it's plenty of time to get the shields down. And then kind of letting the bombers die out, because who needs them? But spending a bunch of GBE, like a lot of GBE, barding the shields. And I think maybe taking lasers for any leftover GBE, doing some damage. So he does a few on those flames right there. And even get some damage on the rocket. So JR setting it up for hopefully just one more hit. And let's see, we have LOL finishing winged with classic Zuka brick. And winged rush is fun too because you're basically rushing both cores at the same time. You don't even have to worry about the shields on the bottom core, since Zukas do so much damage that you can like free snipe and burn through the shield. So it only takes like maybe a minute or so, gets this shield down. And not only that, when the shield explodes, you get a bunch more GB. And he does a one flare on the bottom to kind of get brick more behind, because a later brick can go on the top side, then the less chance he's going to be hit by those simmos. Got a tiny shock from one of them, and then a few more smokes. And you gotta be super precise on this rush. So already shocking one simmo on the left side, because it's almost impossible if you shock everything. That's why we really have to do enough critters. So he does 2 right there for those rockets, and a bunch of shocks in the shock launchers, laser beams, and super fast, but core just dies. Most of those rockets looking at critters, and LOL doing that perfect rush. So now there's just down to 2 more hits. We know the world record before was Duplexity down in 12 hits. So we had SC619 starting off one way, taking some Zooks bombers and sabotage. This one only had 1 shield. Normally these critter launchers also shields. But then I think starting off this hit with some hacks. Maybe the first hacking hit we see in Duplexity, at least in this op. Normally you see a lot more of them, but maybe because of the engraver and so many crab accounts, hacking got a little bit obsolete. It's just now you can just plow through with so many other troops. So SC doing a good hack on the left side, and maybe 1 or 2 more on this side. Getting those 2 rockets especially. Oh, he's going for 1 more, getting the 3rd rocket. It really helps out not just free sniping this shield, but also for the rushes too. And then right away doing some Zooks and bombers. Zookas mainly to distract the grappler. We take them instead of rifles because, well, they do a lot more damage. And now you almost want the Zooks to die because otherwise you have those critter launchers. But they die pretty soon so the bombers can outrange them. And luckily there's just 1 shield to deal with. So getting that down, and still 2 cores left on runway, and it's not an easy finishing hit. But SC doing an awesome open, and we'll see how we pull it off. It was like no one fighting for the last hit, because it's really the make or break of the world record. But finally, ZPM stepped up, taking Zooks brick, and looks like adrenaline, speeding up everyone by 18%. And it's not really an easy rush. You got 2 cores to deal with. So we got him going with Zooks on the right side, delaying brick a bit, doing it so much he knows perfect flares so they go all tight within those cells. And at the perfect timing, flaring onto that boom surprise. And with tiny shocks you can throw those pretty early, so you can do the normal shocks kind of closer to the time. So 1 shock on the left right there, and in just a few seconds this bottom core dies, re-smoking because just that good, and it's just waiting a few seconds to get the other smoke going. So he sends a smoke first, a flare on that side, and looks like he's gonna rush from above core right there. I think he had enough GB, so even though those tiny shocks expired, There we go, he has one more for that rocket. And one tiny peek, but looks like enough for 2 more shocks. Even arting one Zook just in case, but getting 2 cores down in just 1 hit. So awesome finish by ZPM. And perfect finish on runway 2. That lonely little mangrove tree. But that's what really got us the world record. Duplexity in a 25-man, down in just 11 hits. And even last time I thought it couldn't be broken, but with some good teamwork, we got it down. And even this team right here is just crazy good. It's only been active for, well, it might be a year anniversary pretty soon. But for 350 days, having an 88 win rate for Duplexity is pretty crazy. I think it's been like 6 or 8 months where every single day taking down Duplexity and less than 25 hits. So now the challenge for these guys is, can we get DX down in 10? And who knows, maybe we'll find out pretty soon. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.